turned up to. One of these. Good afternoon and welcome to the Shea. 7 weeks of Cup Rugby is forgotten now as the serious business starts. First round of the National League One competition and the second meeting in 10 days for Halifax against Hull Kingston Rovers, playing towards their supporters away to the right hand side in the first half. One victory apiece, Halifax by the bigger margin at the Shea a couple of weeks ago, and Anthony Farrell having to make changes this afternoon. The loss of both first choice centres, James Bunyan and Alan Adcroft. Chris Morley still not fit, Anthony Blackwood nursing bumps and bruises, and Andy Hobson still about 4 weeks away. Damien Gibson at full back, James Haley, Jamie Bloom, Andy Spink and Ricky Sharif. The three quarters, Dean Lawford, who punches the ball down deep into the Rovers half. Partners Ben Black, and there's a knock on by Jonathan Steele right under the post. The rest of the Halifax team is Chris Birchall, Ben Fisher and Jason Bolts in the front row. David Larder partners Wayne Corker in the second row. Pat Wisner locks the scrum. On the bench, Gareth Greenwood, Jody Sharif, Ryan MacDonald and the ever improving Ferretti Tuolangi. And that is a big mistake in front of a crowd that swells weekly in that south stand. Good times coming back to Halifax. Black around the defence. Black misses Haley out. Black will now have to use Haley, but the defence had slid across following the scrum half, who opened up the Keighley defence with ease on Friday night. We've got to try in same circumstances. Halifax still pushing forward, but Rovers on their metal in defence as that pass to Larder just sneaks forward. There'll be a knock on the last tackle. And I thought it was, but he says it's the first knock on, and so Rovers will feed the scrum, and they have Loz Wildboard at full-back, Jonathan Steele, Paul Manson, Kenny Patte and Byron Ford. The three quarters, James Webster, the danger man for them, with Phil Hasty at three quarters. Also not a bad player in his own right, the scrum half. Neil Harmon, Paul Pickering, Jamie Boville, Dale Holstock, Andy Raleigh and Dwayne Barker are the forwards. Mark Blanchard, Andy Ellis, Paul Fletcher and Macaulay Azew on the bench, and Rovers managed to keep the ball alive. Halifax were trailing 24-6 after 25 minutes in that last meeting. That was a thunderous tackle by Larder. Went on to win the match in the last 20 minutes of the second half, but they'll want to be on the metal for the full 80 in this game. Another good tackle on Raleigh, and Halifax restrict Rovers to their own 40 with the first 5 tackles. Webster gets the kick away under pressure from Fisher. Gibson brings it away from full back and takes it back to the 20. Halifax player still coming back into the offside position, and Spink, as his normal, bounces off the first man, but the momentum forces him sideways. Bloom goes from acting half and carries almost up to the 40. Black away to Corker on the far side, but numbers there for Rovers in defence. Bloom again trying to go under the tackle, and Halifax have options on this side if they can number men up, but it's the last tackle. It'll go back to Lawford for the kick, and that a charge down. It's back to 1, says the referee. Well, the man went to charge the ball down, he turned his body, but he was still making the effort, and Spink gives it to Larder, and Rovers are penalised for the offside. Halifax get the first penalty within kickable distance. Is it for Dean Lawford? Well, Halifax are going to try and put the pressure on again and go for the points. They'll go for the 6 as Spink drives the first tackle in, 9 metres away from the Rovers line. Fisher at acting half to Birchall. Birchall off to Jason Bolts, and Bolts charges into the Rovers defence, and it takes 3 men to stop him. Fisher again in acting half. Black running the defence across. Bloom unloads the pass to Corcoran. Gets away from the first, and Corcoran tries to force his way over on the far corner, and Halifax back to within a metre of the Rovers line. Fisher fires the ball across to Black, quickly on to Wisner. Wisner gets it away to Larder. Larder has Bolts in support, and Bolts is tackled. Quick play the ball, and just knocked on by Phil Larder. And already tempers boiling over a bit under the Hull KR post. So Halifax 2 attacks, 2 knock-ons. Corcoran went close, and Rovers relying on Byron Ford to try and take them away from their own line. Allstock moving out wide, but Pickering going from the acting half position. In fact, it's Poucher, and he gets the Wildboar. He gets the penalty for Hull KR. Surprisingly, Craig Poucher left out of the side of 2 big games against Halifax. And Webster puts the ball into touch. Halifax giving away easy meters. Neil Harmon into the defensive line, put down on halfway. Second runner is Boville. He unloads to Allstock. Allstock gets it out wide. Problems here, Manson. Webster outside. Hasty goes on the inside. Looks for the support and had overrun the option of giving it to Allstock, but still gets it away to Pickering. Halifax under pressure. Pickering looking to unload, but Halifax arm came round and just clamped the ball in before it went. Hasty. Short pass. Referee moving into the close mark, and it's giving Halifax a chance to move up over the 10. Manson tries to go around the outside. Halifax tried to drag him into touch. Last tackle. Hasty will kick the ball on the floor, bounces awkwardly. Corcoran picks it up for Halifax and manages to stay in the field of play despite pressure from 2. Gibson from acting half. Only making 3 or 4 metres now. Bloom from acting half. Halifax only up to the 10. And Rovers giving away the penalty. Referee not standing for much messing about the play of the ball. Quick with a whistle. That's the 3rd penalty for this game, which is about 7 minutes old. Still no score. Well, end-to-end stuff. Halifax had 2 chances near the Rovers line. Rovers had their chance, and Halifax held out. And Jason Bolts was back on the inside line. He's thrown to the ground. Black chips through. Needs a favourable bounce, but Wildboar will get it and manage to spin away from Black. But the pressure there from Halifax as they try to force the fullback over the line. And Rovers looking for a quick counter-attack on that far side with Caney Patty now. Byron Ford taking the ball up from acting half. Phil Hasty stepping inside. Almost scored a try that could have been a winner here 8 days ago. Halifax have really kept Hull KR pinned down this side. They've got 25 metres away from their own line on the last tackle, and Webster will hoof it downfield. Haley will make sure it's safe to pick up before picking the ball up and setting off back towards the Rovers defence. And Gibson will give it to Spink from acting half, but he runs a lonely road as his teammates get back into line behind him. Sharif dropped the shoulder, almost got away. It was only the alertness of Andy Raleigh that managed to stop the winger, and Sharif has suffered an injury. He may be able to run it off, but he's limping gingerly. He's shaking his head as The assistant runs on. Short ball to Jason Bolts. Had Gibson sniffing at the side of him, but Ulkea managing to hold man and ball in the tackle, which is the last one. Lawford will be put under pressure and get a kick away. That's not the best, but it's bounced back towards Halifax. Corcoran. Bloom gets it back to Ben Black, and Black will give it to Fisher. Fisher will kick through, and he's taken out, but the referee waves play on as Wildbar returns it for Halifax. Sharif tries to run off the injury. Well, if Ulkea are watching here, they'll know that Halifax will now be suspect down this side. Already spotted by Jonathan Steele, pointing to the corner and pointing to where Sharif's injured, and the ball will come this way now with Harmon. Hasty to Manson, and Manson unable to get the ball away. Sharif forced into the tackle, and that won't do him any good. And that might be the last of Sharif. He's actually holding his groin, but started with a shin injury, and this could be a bad injury for Halifax and Ricky Sharif. Carried from the field. He tried to carry on and run the injury off, but it looks like they're going to have to do some work to get him back on the field. Webster's kick tries to put Gibson under pressure, and Gibson steps out of one tackle, drops his shoulder, tries to come inside, and he's brought down 10 metres from the post. And a lazy pass there could cause problems. Haley manages to pick it up. Halifax need to be alert as Birchall drives the ball out for Halifax up to the 20, and this time it's Rovers that are restricting Halifax's progress away from their own line. Bloom to the 40. Wisner, long pass out wide, bounces kindly for Andy Spink. Lawford out to Gareth Greenwood. Greenwood fancies a run against the winger. Steele plays the ball quickly, but there's nobody there. Hasty kicks on, so all Spink has to do is gather possession, which he does, and gives Halifax 6 more. Fisher tries to cut a sway through the Rovers defence. Well, Halifax taking their eye off the ball there at the play. Greenwood got up and gave Halifax what they wanted with a quick play of the ball. Unfortunately, there was no acting half there, as Fisher earns himself a penalty from acting half. And Lawford will put that one into touch 10 metres from the Rovers line, and Halifax, will it be third time lucky, as Fisher takes the quick tap and goes for the line and almost caught the Ulkea defence napping. And I think the Rovers defence were waiting for the referee's whistle there, and I'm not sure I heard it as Greenwood passes it away. Larder lets it come off his legs. Spink to Lawford. Lawford takes the tackle, draws the men in. Not the best of passes to Birchall. Black turns it back inside. Ball comes loose off a Ulkea hand, and it'll be the first knock on, and so Halifax once again down by the Ulkea line. 3 chances and 3 stray passes. Means that Ulkea have been let off the hook once again. So Halifax must once again try and keep Rovers in their own half of the field. Managed it on the last occasion, forcing Webster into the kick. Driving forward, but stern defence so far from Halifax. 20 metres in 3 tackles. Harmon had the legs pumping, then saw Lawford come in and stuck the arm out for the handoff. Referee finally calls held, and Lawford saying he's run with the elbow as Hasty gets it away. Dwayne Barker is caught, and Halifax once again keep Rovers in their own half of the field, and Webster will be pushed into the kick again, which is as good a pass for Damien Gibson, and Gibson tries to bring it back. Oldstock, the first man there for Rovers. Gibson brought down on the 20. Greenwood fancies a run from acting half, which makes him 10 metres. Ben Black going from acting half, loses possession. Well, there's still dew on the top of the grass here, so it is slippy. And Ulkea will be able to set up for 6 inside the Halifax half with Andy Raleigh, who slips through 2 and gets Rovers back into the 20. About 15 minutes gone. Man to watch. Webster gets the ball away. Ulkea move the ball across swiftly. That looked like a forward pass to Byron Ford, but he's put down 5 metres away, and Halifax are really on the rack now. Webster to Allstock to Hasty, who goes back a couple of metres, but the Halifax defence don't follow him, so he decides to look for a gap, which he doesn't find. Webster out to Raleigh, and Halifax can't afford to give Raleigh so much room. This time Raleigh tries to get the ball away. Spink picks it up gratefully for Halifax. Well, both teams struggling to settle the nerves near the try line. But Andy Raleigh had already broke through 2 tacklers. Halifax keeping a close eye on him, and that looked like a high shot, more of a lazy arm from Paul Manson on Birchall. Larder driving the ball up. Back to Lawford for the kick early in the count. Wild ball underneath it. Halifax, well, they were running up as a line, but there was a little bit of a 5 metre gap there, which Wildbar tried to take advantage of, but the defence moved in quickly with Wisner. Steele tackled on the 40. Eparte looking for a way through from acting half. Good tackle from Birchall. Beauville driving forward. Larder around the legs. Lawford looking at the referee for something there. Hasty using Lawford as the shield because he was in an offside position. And Barker is brought down on the 5th, 28 metres away. Webster is there, and this time he'll test Haley again. And that one is close to the line. They have 2 very big men on that far side, do Ulkingston Rovers, but I'm not sure whether it's Haley or Bloom there that stood up to the test. I think it was Haley, and he took it well as Greenwood drives the ball back for Halifax. But solid defence from the Robins. Corcoran. Jason Bolts dropped off the inside ball from Wisner. Chris Birchall replaced by Wayne MacDonald as Bloom gets the ball back inside to Black. Black goes for the step, and Allstock just manages to keep on hold of the shirt. And well, there's somebody round the throat there, says the referee. Halifax will get the 4th penalty on halfway. And Halifax once again with an opportunity to attack that Robins line. First run from MacDonald, who brushes away the first attempted tackle, pumps in legs and keeps going. The ball comes out illegally, says the referee, and that's a 5th penalty. And this one, I would imagine, will be a 2-pointer for Halifax. Jamie Bloomer was out at 2 hours before kick-off practice in the kicking. But what a charge from MacDonald. Just pushed away the first line of defence. Straight to the ground and still kept the legs pumping with 2 defenders clinging on to him. One decided to pull the ball out. And is that a classic case of give away 2 instead of the 4? Well, it's within range, and Bloom will, after 20 minutes or so, try and put Halifax in the lead with the first points of the match, which he does. And Halifax's 4th attack in the Rovers quarter, and all they have to show for it is 2 points off the boot of Jamie Bloom, but at 2 points it takes him into the lead. Halifax 2, Ulkingston Rovers 0. Wild ball with a long kick to Lawford on his own line. Lawford to David Larder. Almost a Cumberland throw there from Phil Hasty, reminiscent of the way Alan Langer used to tackle, as Fisher almost gets back to his feet there. Gibson away from acting half, making metres for his forwards. This will probably be grateful for. Ulker out of the blocks very quickly there. MacDonald pushes away Old Stock. Gets rid of the ball to Ben Black, and Ben Black with a step trying to throw off Dwayne Barker, and does so, and Black's still going forward. Ball goes to ground, and that'll be a knock on. Just one trick too many there for Ben Black as he tried to step away from the tackle, as it looked as though Barker had caught him at first and Black couldn't shrug him off, and then he squeezed out. And the next defender was just one man too many as he lost the ball going down. Manson watched closely by Lawford and Spink. Steele, who's got pace, he scored 5 tries against the London Scholars for Ulkingston Rovers a couple of weeks ago. Harmon with a loose pass, which Beauville will pick up as the Robins lose ground. And Neil Harmon just wiping his hands on the shirt there as evidence that the ball is very slippy. Olstock gets the ball away, and Ben Black almost for the intercept there. And with his pace, that might have been a 4-pointer. But again, the ball a little bit slippy off the end of the fingertips. And Rovers get 6 more tackles. Webster kicks over the top. Greenwood, the chase is on, and Greenwood will get to it first and clear the lines. And it came off the side of the foot, so it could have been a problem, but it went the right way. Webster knowing that Sharif was off the field, trying to nip over the back and use the pace of Steele. I think Webster would have preferred the ball to go out a little bit wider away from the post. Referee waits for the ball to come back into play. Halifax taking a breather, trying to fill the lungs while the ball's out of play. And a long kick by Lawford is picked up by Pickering on his own 10, and the chasers are out to the halfway line. And MacDonald was the first one there. And MacDonald swinging the arm round over the top of Neil Harmon there. He's going to have to be careful. Raleigh running at Lawford. Both Lawford and Andy Raleigh, but former Sheffield Eagles players. Here goes Harmon again, and they've missed him this time. Tuilangi's on, tried to get the ball away, and it comes up for Wisner. Wisner will step. Well, it's a good job the ball slippy on this occasion as Tuilangi takes the drive up into the Rovers defence. The man that ensured that Halifax had that 22-point gap to head Rovers at the top of their group in the Northern Rail Trophy. Rovers penalised for laying on, and Halifax have a massive penalty count in their favour, 6 points to 1, but only a 2 points to 0 lead on the scoreboard, which is not exactly comfortable considering the chances they've had near that Rovers line. Now they'll get another 6 as MacDonald runs against the backs. Doesn't make too many metres. The backs doing a better job than the forwards on tackling. Here comes Tuilangi, and immediately send a posse in there. And Tuilangi, I think, trying to get the penalty. has given away the knock on, and Halifax squander possession once again near that Rovers line.
Substitutions replacing number 9, Paul Pickering, and number 8, Neil Harden, number 15, Andy Ellis.
So,
17,
changing a hooker and a prop for another hooker and a prop. Ellis and Macaulay on for Harman and Pickering. Andy Ellis has caused problems for Halifax. Well, I thought they weren't actually allowed to make changes till after the scrum was formed. Well, he's come on now as Ellis, as Halifax tried to keep Ulkar near their own line. Little reward for the work down in that quarter of the field so far this afternoon as Raleigh runs it out against Spink. Gets to the 20, Macaulay Azu is quickly marked by the Halifax defence. Fisher and Larder with a tackle. Beauville. Hull Kingston Rovers claiming there was a high shot there, referee signalling it was around the chest. Tuilangi went for the man without the ball. 2-on-1 on that far side as Ford gets the ball, gets it back inside to Ipati. Will anybody catch Ipati? Gibson. What a tackle from Damien Gibson. Absolute superb tackle from the fullback. It looked as though Ipati was on his way to the line. Good interplay between the centre and winger on that far side of the field. But what a tackle from Gibson. Measured the man up and took him straight into the corner flag as Spink comes down the short side. Has to go to ground. Well, they didn't think about the drag towards the touchline. MacDonald off a short run. Pushes away Azu, who comes back for a second attempt with Beauville. Fisher to Larder. Larder 5 metres from halfway. Ulkar tightening up in defence as Tuilangi juggles with the ball and gets it away to Corcoran. And Corcoran takes the ball back to within 25 metres of the Rovers line, but it's the last tackle. Bloom on the short side. Will he try the kick inside? Well, he didn't get the option. Ben Black forming up for the last tackle there, but it was in fact the last tackle anyway, and it was a turnover. I think Ben Black thought Halifax had one more there. And Azu makes a mistake under the post. Now, can Halifax finally punish some slack handling under that Rovers, or by that Rovers line? Golden opportunity for Halifax to try and put a 4-pointer on the board. Lawford to Black. Black steps inside, beats Webster. Charges towards the line, has two men clinging onto him, and he's put down a metre away. Rovers have no winger out this side. MacDonald can't get the ball over. And Halifax have numbers on this side if they can get the ball there quick enough. Fisher to Lawford. Lawford is tackled by Azu. Halifax wasting the opportunities, they lose ground. Larder will drive it back towards the post. Halifax still have men on this side of the field. Lawford loses possession. It's picked up by Ellis. And Halifax once again squander the opportunity. Ulkar toughing up in defence. But all Halifax needed was a ball out to the near side here, and the 3-2 or 3-1. No winger there for Ulkar. But once again, the mistake is made, and this time Ulkar have got back further than they have in any previous set of six. So they've got to the halfway line. Andy Raleigh runs against Lawford and gets to the 40. Still not on the last tackle. Hasty out to Wildboar. Wildboar crunched to the ground by Tuilangi. Took man and ball, hammered to the floor. This is a last tackle. Back to Webster. Webster a little chip over the top. It'll all depend on the bounce, which goes in Halifax's favour. And on the half hour, it's Halifax 2, Hull KR 0, and Bloom loses a possession this time. Well, it's given Rovers a chance to attack the Halifax line. Well, they've had a mountain of chances of Halifax and failed to take them. Hull Kingston Rovers have had a couple of chances, come up with nothing at the moment. Webster, the danger man, to Wildbar. Wildbar put down 22 metres away. Paul Fletcher for Hull KR. Seems to have been playing for him for about 20 years now, but it was Paul Fletcher. Webster, good ball out to Manson. Manson, unable to escape the clutches, gets the ball away to Ellis. Falls to the tackle of Gibson. Macaulay turns round. Can't get the pass away. Halifax trying to number up in defence. Webster on that far side. That's the way the ball goes. Webster to Holstock. Holstock shrugging and shaking and pushing his way towards the line. Stopped eventually. Last tackle. Halifax need to watch the short kick from Webster. And there it is. And Fisher, it's the man that comes up with it. And that's a knock on. So Halifax will have to defend another set of 6. Well, they're getting a bit used to this, Halifax now, defending multiple sets of 6. Webster goes for the line. And then he's hammered to the ground, but Halifax need 5 more tackles like that from Lawford to keep Rovers out. Phil Hasty away to Fletcher. And Fletcher is brought down 3 metres away. Halifax looking light on that far side. That's the way the ball goes again. Barazu snatches it out of the air. And he's forced back as he makes a desperate attempt to plant the ball down behind the line. Halifax fall for the sucker punch from Andy Ellis. Looked as though they'd stopped him, and Ellis managed to reach the arm out and put the ball down. And Halifax, well, they got used to taking 2 or 3 sets on their own line. They fell for the sucker punch again from acting half. Andy Ellis, the first try of the game. Halifax 2, Hull Kingston Rovers 4. And it's a simple conversion attempt in front of the post for Wildbar, and Wildbar obliges with a 2. And the mistake proves costly for Halifax. After Storm's defending when Rovers were close to the line and sending the big forwards in, Halifax made the mistake trying to clear their own lines and pay the price. Hasty to Azu. Halifax defenders there are there very quick, and Tuilanga, another huge hit on Macaulay Azu. And Macaulay Azu must have wondered what had hit him then. Superb tackle from Tuilanga. And that set the pattern for this set of 6. Black firing up into Oldstock. Well, it looks like it may have done. Hull KR just over the 20 metre line. Fletcher carries it up another 10. Webster. Raleigh looking out wide, manages to get the ball away. Spink manages to make the tackle. Halifax once again have restricted Rovers to the 40 metre line. Webster had moved in at acting half. Hasty was looking as though he was going to get the kick, and that could be a 40-20 from Webster, could it? Well, that looked close to a 40-20, but it's pinned Halifax right back. I think there were a lot of eyes on Phil Hasty there with Webster in at acting half. Andy Spink is going to be put under immediate pressure as soon as he gets the ball. And it's really put a spring in the step of these Hull KR players. Tuilange will drive the ball forward but only make it to the 20. Wisner falls to an easy tackle there. Fisher out to Black. Black brings Bloom back on the inside. And Bloom, well, he didn't go down, he managed to get the ball away. MacDonald shrugged away as you at the first attempt. Was eventually wrestled to the ground. Lawford, quick ball to Larder. And Larder clattered by Manson. Last tackle. And that must have been a penalty. There was a click of the a grab of the ankle as Larder got up to play the ball. There was no doubt about that. Well, Hull KR have certainly upped the ante a bit, but they just lost the plot there with Manson, I think it was, who made a good tackle on Larder. It was the last one of that set of 6. All he needed to do was make the tackle. And he gave the possession away. Tuilange gets it out well to Gibson. Gibson brings Bloom back on the inside. Bloom chased by Oldstock. He's back where he started and he's attracted 3 defenders to him. Tuilange, not really at any pace. The Samoan tackled pretty easily. Lawford turns it back inside to Black. Black only has a full back to beat, but the pass has been given forward by the referee. Well, Halifax have found a way to split the defence, but the pass was forward. Says referee Mike Dauber from Huddersfield. A couple of minutes to go in the first half. Halifax trailing at half time again, not by as big a margin as they have been in their 2 previous games, but failing to put away the chances they've had near the Hull KR line, paying the price. Just one mistake near their own line. Hull KR capitalising. Halifax 2, Hull KR 6. Phil Hasty unable to keep hold of the ball. Larder picks it up for Halifax. Well, there's plenty of mistakes going. Sharif gets the ball back to Corcoran. Jody Sharif on for Wayne MacDonald as Fisher unable to find a way through the Rovers defence. Lawford takes that one off his bootlaces. Gibson shows the dummy, gives it to Spink, and Spink falls to the tackle of Andy Ellis. Larder, Halifax 25 metres out in front of the Rovers post. Wisner, long ball out to Ben Black. Black turns it back inside to Tuilange. And Azul gets him at the second attempt with Oldstock. Last tackle. Lawford, kick off the side of the foot, depends on the bounce. Well, it won't get a chance to bounce as Ellis picks it up and manages to crawl and plunder his way 10 metres on his hands and knees. And looks like he might have been injured in the process. I'm not sure the crawling and throwing himself on the floor might have not done as much damage as any tackler that moved in. Sharif misses the tackle on Dwayne Barker, and Barker unable to find the support. Tackled by Gibson. Halifax once again on the rack right before half time. Another try for Rovers, and it would be a bit of blow as a party fires it out to Ford, and Ford tries to shake off the defenders. Last tackle, Manson looking for the kick. Halifax have small men on the flanks in Haley and Greenwood, and this is to test, and Greenwood comes up with it. The tackle's made, and made again at the second attempt as well. Spink will go from acting half, gives it to Gibson, has to stretch behind him to gather the pass. And Halifax camped in their own 20 once again, put there by the kick from Webster as Jody Sharif just unable to escape the clutches. Fisher to Corcoran. Corcoran gets the ball away to Bloom. Bloom trying to take advantage while the Rovers defenders have their backs turned, and Bloom's got it away to Fisher. Fisher short of support as he tries to get up and play it quickly. It's got to be a sin bin. That's 2 men in 2 minutes. There must be a sin bin. It's a professional foul. Hull KR defenders were coming back then. A quick play would have caught them on the hop. Tuilagi from deep at speed. Gets up out of the tackle. Wanted to carry on the run but played it. Black to Wisner. Wisner back towards that far side again. Then decides on the other way back. Pops it up for Bloom. And Bloom stopped 7 metres away from the line with what may be the last set of 6 in this half. Ben Black under the post. Gets it to Wisner. And Macaulay tries to take Wisner's head off. Will he go to the pocket this time? Well, it's going to have words with him, but it's going to be, I suspect, another 2 points for Halifax under the post. They are there, but I think Hull KR are lucky to have 13 men on the field, not because of a huge tackle, but 2 blatant obstruction as the man tried to get up and play the ball and a grab of the ankle. So Bloom with what will be the last kick of the first half. So Bloom gets Halifax's second conversion. All Halifax points coming from Bloom's 2 penalties. Either side of the Rovers 6 points, which came from Ellis, converted by Wildbort. Well, a much closer game than the one which took place here 8 days ago. But no shortage of errors, which is not helped Halifax's cause under the Rovers line, but has helped Rovers when I think it was Ben Fisher that knocked on the hooter sound. Well, an all-action first half, lots of mistakes. Hull Kingston Rovers supporters not happy, but I think they'll feel themselves lucky to have 13 men on. But more pleased will Harvey Howard be with the scoreline at half-time. Halifax 4, Hull Kingston Rovers 6.